All right, guys, I want to go back to the dollar bin conversation real quick and talk about a pulse check. So, Jerry, if you're not familiar, what we do once a show at the end of the show, we just look at some video game prices. We take turns picking a higher price game and a lower price game. This week, I have the lower price game. Since it's a perfect segue, I'm going to start. Wes, you can go second. Uh,
Hmm.
my Now, I'm going to be clear. This is a bargain bin game today. It wasn't when it came out. It wasn't even close to it, right? But eventually things get cheap. It's cheap right now, and you can pick up a copy of Battlefield Bad Company 2, which is my favorite Battlefield game, and just a fantastic all around shooter. It's $4 complete in box and $4 loose. I mean, you can't get Starbucks for $4. You can't at this point. You can't even go to McDonald's really with $4 and expect to get much of anything.
It's a luxury.
Yeah, but you can get a copy of Battlefield Bad Company 2 on Xbox 360 for $4. So go check that out. And if you want a sealed one, I'm really going to break your bank. It's $17 for a sealed copy of Battlefield Bad Company 2 in the Xbox 360 today. And I will warn everybody,
Wow.
right now is May 29th, 2024. There was a lot of copies sold of that game. It's probably not going to be super high, but the price of Xbox 360 games is on the rise. I'm telling you now, it's 20 years old. It's popping. The prices are going to continue to rise for the majority of the games in the console, at least for a few years. So please keep that into consideration as you guys shop for Xbox 360 content.
Why is Bad Company 2 your favorite?
Destructible environments really blew my mind at the time. I know it's kind of novel at this point, but the way they were destructible was, man, an enemy would be hiding behind a wall, would just chip away at the wall, and you could shoot them. You know, you could, if you have some sort of explosive, you can throw a grenade at
Mhm.
the wall crumbles around them. Like, man, and the campaign was fantastic. Like, if you guys know me, I don't play too much multiplayer stuff. If that even had multiplayer, I have no idea. I only played the campaign, but front to back was a great story. I don't remember much of the details. I mean, this was, I don't know, 15 years ago, if not longer. I have no idea. But I just really, really enjoyed the game. The graphics at the time were spectacular, too. I mean, one of the best looking games, the destructible environments, great story, and the combat was fantastic. Obviously, Battlefield always had
Okay.
solid combat. So, a great first person shooter.
Cool. Cool. Just curious. I mean, uh, Battlefield evolved ever since I remember the very first one came out for PC, and each time Battlefield came out, it evolved, and then we got Bad Company. But I think my favorite Battlefield was Hardline. That was the cop one.
Was that the online one only, or is that no?
No, no, it was single player, but it was like more of like a cop story
Okay,
in the Battlefield universe. Yeah, it's pretty good.
I skipped that one. I never checked it out. What about you, Jerry? You ever played any Battlefield games?
I have not. I've heard of them. Just haven't had a chance to really play them. Truth be told, I'm not a huge first person shooter player, and it's funny when I had my interviews with the Halo team, I was really nervous about that because I didn't think they would hire me. And I told them up front, I'm like, I don't really know anything about Halo, sorry, but I do like the sci-fi genre of it, and I don't play a lot of first person shooters. And the response basically was, "That's okay. We always need something to shoot at." So that was, um, but I had a great team of folks there. But yeah, I have not really played too much Battlefield. And I did have fun playing with my friends and colleagues on Halo and stuff like that while I was there. It took me a while to figure out the controls because it was so foreign to me. Being a traditional RPG guy, right? And yeah, one player campaigns on other titles and things like that were my bread and butter too. So multiplayer getting shot at. I mean, Mario Party was as far as I typically would go multiplayer getting shot at. So you know,
I mean, Halo's a hell of a game to play. If you've never played multiplayer shooters, that's, I mean, one of the best feeling games around for sure. I would say like that, Battlefield, Destiny. Obviously, Bungie built 2 out of 3 of
Mhm.
those engines, but yeah,
yeah. I remember last year they added fishing. Bungie added fishing to Destiny,
that's crazy.
and it blew me away. And that was one of the places that I interviewed and got really, really close. I was on a day long interview with those folks. Great people, great, 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 great people. But I remember in the interview bringing that up, and I was just like, fishing? That's amazing. It's a first-person shooting game with fishing. So I didn't get the job, but I tried. But they were a good team, and it just blew my mind because I remember going into the interview and doing research, and they had just released that season for fishing, and I just couldn't get over it. I'm like, well, I have something to talk about at least.
Wes, you got our high pick for the month, man.
Yeah, my high pick is a game we talked about once before, maybe once or twice before. It was a Game Boy game, a Game Boy Advance game. It was Boktai. The Sun is in Your Hands. That was the game where you had to take it outside to play because
Oh,
it needed sunlight. It had the little sensor. Jerry knows what I'm talking about.
Bring
It had
your bring your first version Game Boy Advance out in the sun and see how that goes to play that game.
but you needed the sunlight to charge your weapon in the game.
And you need your eyes to see the game. If you don't have an SP with some sort of backlight, you ain't seeing that game in the sun.
Yeah. Yep. It was a very Zelda like game, but yeah, the whole gimmick was the whole sunlight thing.
that was wasn't the solar part of it built into the actual cartridge?
Yes. Yeah, it had a little sensor on it. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember thinking that was some weird. I'm like, what's next? It's like going to the movies like in the 60s when they had smell-o-vision. And it's like you'd have that little scratch and sniff card and you okay, it's part
Yeah.
of the movie, kids. And I obviously wasn't in the 60s, but I've heard about this, right? So it's like they give you a card and you're like, yeah, it smells like birthday cake. It smells like dead zombies. It's like what a weird what a weird gimmick. But like, yeah, okay, kids, you don't want to play video games in the house anymore. Go out and play ball and play video games and get hit in the head. That would have been me. I would have got hit in the head with a ball while playing my Boktai down the water.
Yeah, Boktai. I said it was a gimmick. I mean, it worked because they did a second one. So, the game itself wasn't bad. It was different. It was very different. But it's yeah. So that was my high pick because it's not a cheap game. Because just the cartridge loose, you're looking at $105 just for the cartridge.
Wow.
Just for the cartridge. If you happen to be fortunate enough to keep your boxing instructions, a complete in box, you're looking at like $189. And a sealed one isn't that much more expensive. You're looking at $200. So yeah, that's a hefty one for a Game Boy game.
Wow. I'm a huge Mega Man fan too. I grew up playing all of them, and like I can hammer that fire button like no one else, right? But I collected all those Mega Man games, and then I remember when the PlayStation came out, they did a spin-off series for Mega Man Legends. They did the Misadventures of Tron Bonne.
Tron Bonne.
I didn't buy it, and I wanted it, but I didn't buy it.
Oh,
And
no.
I remember looking for it recently, and that freaking thing is so hard to find, and it's like $400 or $500, and I kick myself all the time because, having those little like monkey guys next to her doing the little dance, it's like I'll never experience it, and they'll never release it on digital. It's gone forever. But I have everything else, and I love playing all the Mega Man games. But Miss Tron Bonne got away from me.
It happens,
Yeah.
I mean, I think Boktai is probably a little bit higher for one reason. This is a classic from Hideo Kojima. Everybody knows it. That's why everybody wants it. It really was from Kojima, but obviously not that much of a classic. But that's why it's so weird.
Yeah, it was different. It was very different.
Kojima's over there working on Death Stranding 2 when he could be giving everybody what they truly want, which is Boktai 3.
Boktai 3.
Switch is a handheld.
Well, except what would he put it on?
Switch 2.
Switch, man.
Switch 2. It's gonna co-launch with the new upgraded Tears of the Kingdom upgrade. It'll be that, and Tears of the Kingdom will now have a solar, so that when the blood moon comes up, you can wave the Switch 2 at the blood moon will just disappear.
Or they're actually make the Switch powerful, and the battery's going to be so bad that they're going to use like solar to like power the Switch. Like, if you're going to play it more than an hour, you need to be standing in the sun. All right, guys, that's all for this episode of the Nerd Enthusiast Gaming Podcast. Thank you for joining us today. Jerry, thank you for being part of the show. We appreciate you. Any closing comments,
Yes.
thoughts, or ideas?
If you're part of the game community, hang in there. If you're playing our games, hang in there. We're trying. And stay positive. Don't be a hater. Like, people work hard on these games, and if you don't like something, you know, it is what it is. We do it because we love it, and we're not being negative or anything to diss people, but just stay positive. We're a community, and we're doing what we love to do, and we're trying to make the best games we can. So be kind to the community on both sides.
Well said.
Cool. Well, Jerry, it was definitely nice having you on. It was fun.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun talking with you guys.
You know, you come with a lot of years of experience, so it's awesome to talk to someone like that.
I appreciate
Definitely
it. Yeah, it's been an interesting road. So if you're watching this now and you're thinking about making video games for a living, don't. But I wouldn't regret it for a second. So if that's your passion, don't quit your day job. That's what they say in Hollywood, right? But maybe in a few years it'll be a better place to work in. We'll see.
Well, let's hope so. Jerry, if people
Yeah.
want to follow you, where can they find you at?
For right now, just on LinkedIn. Just Jerry Voorhees, LinkedIn. You can go to Digital Scorpion Interactive, our page. I'm in there as well if you want to find me. But yeah, I don't do the X. I don't do the Twitch. I'm not a social media guy. I'm old school. So yeah, just LinkedIn.
You're not missing anything. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm too busy. I'm too busy for all that stuff. DSI is trying to kill me. There's so much work we're working on right now, but it's fun. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Awesome. Wes, where can people find you at, sir?
You can catch me at Level Up Entertainment in the Hamilton Mall in the Jersey Shore area, and you can catch me on Instagram at Grendel5XBX.
All right, I'm Matt. You guys can follow me at from NJ2CA. The 2 is the number 2 over on Twitter or X or whatever you'd like to call it. Please make sure you follow the company at Nerd Enthusiast on all social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up, like the video, leave a comment, all that amazing stuff. And if you really, truly liked what you heard today, please consider supporting us over on Patreon. Patreon.com/nerdenthusiast. You can support us for as little as $1 a month. If you do decide to support us at the $5 tier, you get exclusive videos and you get early ad-free access to a variety of our content. So please consider doing that. All right, guys. Until next time, you all take care.
Take care, guys.